Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, Amazon's Jeff Bezos plans to make a significant announcement. Massachusetts may rescind the tax break for airplane parts. Harrison Ford scholarship student solos in a Cub. I'm Bree Cross. It is August 28th, 2015, and this is Airborne Unlimited. Blue Origin founder and Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos plans a trip to Cape Canaveral in Florida on September 15th for what is being called a significant announcement regarding the commercial launch industry. USA Today reports that Bezos has been in negotiations with Space Florida that could lead to the establishment of a manufacturing facility for Blue Origin at Exploration Park south of the Kennedy Space Center's secure area on the Florida coast. Blue Origin, which in April successfully tested its Shepard booster at its launch facility in Texas, hoped to eventually launch manned missions from Launch Complex 36 at Cape Canaveral. Blue Origin has been working with United Launch Alliance to develop a new engine, designated BE-4, which ULA could use in a booster that it is currently designing to replace its Atlas V launch system. You can count on ANN to keep you posted on continuing developments. The Massachusetts legislature is considering reinstating a 6.25% sales tax on airplane sales, parts, and maintenance that was abolished in 2002. Some in the current legislature are calling the tax break a giveaway for wealthy executives with corporate jets. But the aviation industry counters that bringing back the tax would drive business to other states and small airports would be hardest hit. It is reported a spokesman said the governor does not support increasing taxes on businesses in the state, but that he would, quote, review any legislation that reaches his desk, end quote. Dave Dinian, president of the Massachusetts Airport Management Association, said that the industry is supportive of spending money on education, but it should not be taken at the expense of a growing sector that supports 124,000 jobs statewide and has an $11.9 billion economic impact on the state. After the break, EAA scholarship put to good use.
The KSN 770 is an affordable, WAS-enabled integrated MFD with a flexible hybrid user interface from Bendix King. Get your fingers on the 770's perfect blend of touchscreen and hard buttons. Easily control your GPS navigation, Navcom, weather, traffic, and terrain in any condition. For more information, go to bendixking.com.
Redbird is quickly becoming the industry standard for flight training. Since Redbird introduced its revolutionary FMX in 2007, colleges, universities, and flight training operations around the world have integrated Redbird products into their curriculum. It's time to discover what Redbird can do for you. Join the migration.
AML's patent-pending wireless induction charging system eliminates confusion over those charging cables, cuts down cockpit cable clutter, and allows you and your passengers to fly cordless and eliminate the cable nightmare. www.aviationmodificationleaders.com.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Welcome back. If you would like to be a supporter of Airborne Unlimited, send an email to jim@aero-news.net. The Experimental Aircraft Association manages many aviation-related scholarships, and ardent aviation enthusiast Harrison Ford provided a contribution to be used for the purpose of flight training. Now, EAA has reported that Jordan Paulson, the recipient of the 2015 Harrison Ford Scholarship administered by EAA, completed his first solo flight on August 15th out of Hartford Municipal Airport. Paulson, who flew his solo in a Piper Cub, said, quote, I cannot express with words the joy that being able to fly an airplane by myself brought me. Ever since I was little, I have only dreamed of being in command of an aircraft and flying, but money always held me back, end quote. The Flight Training Scholarship is awarded to youth interested in aviation for EAA Air Academy, flight training, or academic tuition awards at whatever level the need is that exists. Jordan, who is 18 years old, added, quote, many people have told me that the sky's the limit for your dreams and aspirations, to which I like responding, that is exactly where I plan on taking them, end quote. It's Friday, and that means that it's time for ANN CEO and Editor-in-Chief Jim Campbell to check in with his weekly Barnstorming commentary. It's been more than 20 years since the FAA conspired to ground the legendary World War II hero, test pilot, and airshow performer Bob Hoover. They almost succeeded, but Hoover, with the help of many, including our own Jim Campbell, triumphed. However, Jim says the FAA versus Hoover fight ain't over yet. Here's this week's Barnstorming.
Thanks, Bree, and hi, folks. I had a conversation with Bob Hoover at NBAA several months back, which eventually required me to go back and look at a book that I wrote with his help about his fight with the FAA some 20 years ago. And in reading over the book, much of which I hadn't looked at in many, many years, I got mad. I got really mad. And we revisited all this at a conversation at Oshkosh just a few weeks ago, in which we both bemoaned the fact that basically nothing's changed. 3 years of Bob's life was ripped from him. He had to fight an enormous fight despite having served this country in so many ways on so many levels and risked his life so many times. And yet, ultimately, the system failed him, as it fails all of us every day. Additionally, when you listen to Mike Huerta, the administrator of the FAA at Oshkosh, just the same old, and how nothing was going to change and nothing was going to be done, and we better be satisfied with that because that's the way the bureaucracy runs. It made me mad. But it also gave me an idea, one shared by Bob, and in fact instigated by Bob, that what this industry really needs is a rallying point. And truth be told, that rallying point probably occurred over 20 years ago, when the FAA took on one of the greatest aviators of all time, one of the greatest gentlemen of all time, and one of the men that we look to with great pride and say, he's one of us. So, we have a project coming up. We'll tell you a lot more about it later on. But this story needs to be told using new media, using all the resources at our disposal in ways we haven't been able to do in the last 20 years, but come to a point now and know that now's the time to tell the story, rally the troops, and make changes. Because what happened to Bob shouldn't be allowed to happen to any one of us. And there's a great reason why, but best of all, I'll let Bob tell you.
I'm delighted to have my story told because it can affect a lot of people. I hope that we'll appreciate the freedom that we've enjoyed all these many years, thanks to so many people who went before us to put us in the present stage of where we are now and accomplishing knowledge we've never had before. Think, if you will, for a moment about all of the many things that have been accomplished since that first 12-second flight was made by Orville Wright. Look how industry has moved out and expanded, and millions of jobs have been developed, billions of dollars have been earned for people all over the world. Industries have existed that didn't exist before. These are all the values that can be met by standing up for what is correct and what is not correct. And standing up for our rights, that's what our freedom has been all about since the original Constitution was written. And I think the knowledge of what's occurred to me is important to everybody to realize that that's what freedom is all about, the ability to express yourself and make a right out of a wrong and do everything we can to have the truth told.
We'll have a lot more to say about this next week. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne, Aero-TV, and my good friend Bob Hoover, I'm Jim Campbell.
After these messages, shooting down a small UAV could land you in jail.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
Now certified, Aspen Avionics single-band ADS-B, ATX-100, and ATX-100G transceivers are the next-gen ADS-B solution that provides the features pilots need while keeping flyaway costs low. Check it out now at aspenavionics.com.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. It appears that blasting a small UAV out of the sky, claiming your privacy has been invaded, is not a good idea. A New Jersey man who did so has been indicted on charges of criminal mischief and possession of a firearm for an unlawful purpose. NASA's Global Hawk drone aircraft will begin flights this week in support of a NOAA-led mission to improve hurricane track and intensity forecasts. The mission moves the Global Hawk closer to being operational as a weather forecast observations tool. Damage from a violent windstorm that hit Chandler Municipal Airport in Arizona earlier this month is being assessed. The airport bore the brunt of a major monsoon storm, causing damage to aircraft estimated to be more than $1 million. 20 years ago Sunday, the first prototype of the upgraded MiG-21 Lancer took to the air from Aerostar's Bacău facility in northeast Romania. The MiG-21 Lancer is the most complete and advanced fighter jet upgrade program undertaken in Eastern Europe. Well, that's our trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. An American Airlines Dreamliner that was damaged by a hailstorm July 27th in China will be placed back into service in the next week or so, according to the airline. It could be said the design and structure of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner passed an extreme test after flying into severe hail conditions. The most visible damage was to the radome of the airplane, which was replaced with a temporary radome. The aircraft was flown to Tokyo for other repairs and then continued on to Dallas-Fort Worth, where additional inspections and repairs were performed. Aside from the radome, Americans said the plane suffered damage to the leading edges of the wings and horizontal and vertical stabilizers. The damage to the tailplanes likely happened when the ice ingested into the engines blew out through a snow cone as intended. It's thought that ice shreds thrown off by the damaged radome likely caused the damage to the side windshields. The front windshields were not damaged. Many composite components are being repaired by the airline's composite repair shop in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Well, that's our program for today. Remember to get comprehensive real-time 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily Monday through Friday with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. Please join us and a growing roster of over 100 outstanding industry associations and organizations every weekday for the best in aviation and aerospace news from the staff of the Aero-News Network, the aviation world's most comprehensive news and information resource. Have a wonderful weekend. We will see you on Monday.